Sylvanus Olympio, the visionary who challenged empires. In 1945, a young Sylvanus Olympio stood shoulder to shoulder with Africa's brightest minds at the Pan-African Congress in Manchester. This historic gathering laid the foundation for a new Africa, an Africa free from colonial rule and united in purpose. Among the leaders advocating for unity and liberation was Olympio, a man whose vision for Togo and Africa transcended borders and empires. Two years later, in 1947, Olympio addressed the United Nations Trusteeship Council. With eloquence and determination, he demanded freedom for Togo, a French trusteeship at the time. He spoke not just for his nation, but for all African territories under colonial domination. His words resonated globally, marking him as a rising star in Africa's liberation movement.
With us, I want to express on behalf of the Council our welcome to Mr. Olympio and our delight that he can speak personally to us about the Togoland situation. May I introduce Mr. Olympio and ask him to proceed with his oral presentation. Mr. Olympio.
Monsieur le Président et membres du Conseil des tutelles, je vous demande de me permettre de m'adresser d'abord à la délégation française en expliquant pourquoi je fais mon exposé en anglais. D'abord, je fais l'exposé en anglais parce que je représente ici non seulement les évêques qui se trouvent aux côtés du Togo français, mais aussi les évêques qui se trouvent dans la région qui est sous l'administration britannique. Et aussi, je fais cet exposé en anglais plutôt pour la commodité du Conseil des tutelles. Mr. Chairman and members of the Trusteeship Council of the United Nations, I bring you greetings from paramount chiefs, and elders, signatories of the EVE Convention and the EVE people. They regret that the time limit given to their representatives to appear before you does not allow any of the chiefs of the EVE people to be present. We are, however, deeply grateful to the Trusteeship Council for this unique opportunity so generously afforded us to present our case before this international body, one of the great organs of the United Nations. The Ewe country lies along the Gulf of Guinea on the west coast of Africa. It has an area about 10,000 square miles and thus is nearly as large as Palestine or Belgium. Its population is approximately 1 million. Its first contact with Europeans dates back more than 3 centuries, but it has known effective European administration only since the last quarter of the 19th century. In 1914, British troops advancing from the west and French troops advancing from the east occupied Togoland. From 1914 to 1920, the British occupied the western half, including the port of Lomé, whilst the French occupied the eastern half. After the peace treaty in 1920, the British handed over about 2/3 of the former German Togoland, including the port of Lomé, to the French. The country was thus divided into A, Togoland on the British mandate, B, Togoland on the French mandate. As the result of these partitions, my country is now split into 3 sections. The agitation for the unification of Everland is becoming more and more intense. During the last war, difficulties arose between the French and the British governments. And as a consequence, contact between the Eves living in the British and the French zones, respectively, became very difficult and sometimes altogether impossible, especially during the years of 1940 and 1942. The aim of this organization is to coordinate the ever demand for the unification of their people under one solitary administration. It does not solve the basic problem. In order to ensure orderly and true progress of my country, we must have a common educational system, the same political organization throughout the land, and economic unity. And this, in our opinion, can only be brought about by the complete unification of the country under one administration. The Ewe people earnestly petitioned the Trusteeship Council to investigate this problem on the spot, knowing that our claims are just. I have been asked to entreat you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olympio. We appreciate your clear and lucid statement. Now, as Mr. Olympio has expressed the willingness to answer questions, I should be very happy if any of the members of this council who desire to put questions to him do so at this time.
On April 27, 1960, Sylvanus Olympio's vision became reality.
Que dis-tu de la nuit? La nuit est longue, mais le jour vient. Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs, le grand jour tant souhaité est enfin arrivé. Notre pays, le cher Togo, qui depuis 1884 a été successivement protectorat allemand, condominium franco-britannique, territoire sous tutelle de la France, retrouve en ce jour du 27 avril 1960 sa liberté d'antan. De ce moment, et à jamais, affranchi de toute suggestion, de toute entrave, maître de ton destin, cher Togo, mon cher pays, te voilà libre enfin. Au nom du peuple togolais, je proclame solennellement l'indépendance du Togo, notre patrie. Ahueto, opion benyen blone evogwemea, ma degomene mile, nia degome, nia bunabele levero, e nia reka, e nia gare matolemia, le javopomea, mi trasu a blone vio, mi lenero così, nia degni niato, ablare! Ablare! Ablare gata!
Togo gained independence, and he was sworn in as its first president. But for Olympio, independence was more than a ceremony. It was a call to action. Olympio sought to break free from France's neo-colonial grip. He rejected the CFA franc, a currency controlled by Paris. Unlike many of his peers, Olympio refused to sign cooperation agreements that would tie Togo's military and economy to France. This bold move made him an icon of sovereignty and a target for powerful adversaries. Yet, Olympio's journey was not without conflict. His relationship with Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, once promising, turned into a bitter rivalry. While Nkrumah sought to unify Africa under a centralized vision, Olympio prioritized the sovereignty of individual nations. The division of the Ewe people across Togo and Ghana only deepened tensions, with both leaders accusing each other of meddling in their affairs. This ideological clash reflected a broader debate over the future of African unity. Olympio's vision extended beyond Africa. In 1962, he met U.S. President John F. Kennedy, strengthening ties with the West. Togo's strategic location and Olympio's independent stance made him a valuable ally in the Cold War. From Germany to Yugoslavia, Olympio sought partnerships that would diversify Togo's economic and political alliances, further reducing reliance on France. Each visit underscored his commitment to a truly independent Togo, both politically and economically. But Sylvanus Olympio's defiance did not go unnoticed. France, under Charles de Gaulle, viewed him as a threat to its neo-colonial empire. Jacques Foccart, de Gaulle's advisor on African affairs, orchestrated strategies to undermine Olympio's leadership. Despite their efforts, Olympio remained resolute. His refusal to bow to French pressure became a symbol of resistance, but it also sealed his fate. France's fear of Olympio's vision spreading across Africa led to one final decision: to silence him. Though they succeeded in signing his death warrant, they could not erase his legacy. Sylvanus Olympio's dream of a sovereign and united Africa continues to inspire those who dare to challenge the status quo.